Hello, everyone. My name is Christopher Houston, and today we're going to talk about 5 signs you're a selfish leader. But we're not going to leave you there. We're going to tell you the fix for each one of these to make sure that these traps don't get you in the end once you become a leader. So I'm here today with my beautiful wife, Diana. Diana, how you doing?
I'm good. How
All
are you?
right, I am excellent and getting better. So let's get into this. So these 5 signs, we're going to start with the first one. The first one is they take credit and pass the blame. So just think about a leader that takes the credit and passes the blame. Now we all know that that's not the way you're supposed to do it. But why do you think people do that? And I'll tell you why. Because it's easy. And selfish leaders, they do the things easy. And we don't want to do that as what I call macro leaders. And we'll get into that later. But what we want to do is we want to flip that around, right? So instead of taking credit and passing the blame, we want to take the blame and pass the credit. So you want to flip that. You want to say we when it wins and I when whatever project loses. And make it a daily discipline, not a one-time speech. Your team can hear the pronouns even when you can't. So just think about that. You want to make sure that if something happens, and hey, when you're a leader, some things just happen sometimes. Projects don't go the way they're supposed to, but you have to take the responsibility. So think about it this way: when it wins, you say we. When it loses, you say I, and take the responsibility. So Diana, uh, taking the credit and passing the blame, selfish leaders. I know I don't like that. I don't like it when it happens. So you talk to me about what you think about it.
Yeah, selfish leaders. I've been able to witness them throughout my career, and the blessing of that is that when I'm able to witness these leaders, it's something that I don't want to be. So I'm learning of things that I don't want to do and how I want to be a servant leader and not a selfish leader. With take the credit, pass the blame. There's a quote that I read: accountability builds trust, blame breaks it. So, and I've seen that. I've witnessed that in my career and just in my career. I know I worked with a leader who took credit for the team's success, but blamed the team's failures. And unfortunately, that created distrust and it creates division within the organization. Because when you blame, it starts to create gossip, which is not it's that's not good in the environment. It just causes distrust. So I've learned from that, and I've learned to be an accountable leader and to never shift blame on the team.
No, that's good. That shift in blame is definitely bad. So the next thing we want to talk about is a selfish leader. They develop themselves and not their people. Man, now this one really gets me. When you're leading a team, your main goal is to uplift others. Your goal is to have the team not just following you, but modeling you. And when they model you, they should be doing what you're doing. And if you're doing things like personal development, then hopefully they're doing it. And even if sometimes they don't know you're doing it. So I have a solution for the selfish leader that develops themselves and not their people. The first thing is it's called a 1-to-1 development ratio. Now, what that means is if I read a book, I share that book with the team. Say, hey, who wants to read this book with me? If I take a course, I tell the team, hey, this is a course I'm taking. If it's an upper level course, I'll say, hey, here's a course that's for your level that I think you should take. I do things like certifications. If I'm getting a certification, I want to let my team know I'm getting that certification. And hey, if you want to get it, let's see how we can get you in these courses. So the 1-to-1 development ratio is what you should use to make sure you don't just try to develop yourself and not your people. The point is grow them like you grow you. And that way you won't be a selfish leader when it comes to developing yourself and not your team. So, Diana, what do you think about leaders who develop themselves and not their people, or what have you experienced in your career?
Yeah, with this one, again, I read a quote and I just thought this was just so perfect. Some leaders build their resume, great leaders build their people. That quote within itself says it all. You want to be able to help your teammates and be able to pour into your teammates versus yourself as a leader. Unfortunately, there are environments where there may be a training budget, and that training budget, that individual or the leader has to make a decision of who gets to go to training, and they may not even consider their team. They may consider themselves and what they need to be developed, and that's unfortunate because as a team, you want to be able to pour to bring in value, to be able to develop your teammates and bring growth and be able to discuss that because as a leader you'll be able to make decisions based on that growth. So it's unfortunate, but again, as I mentioned before, all of these identifications of a selfish leader, it just helps us not to be that selfish leader. It helps us learn, even if we've been a selfish leader before, it just opens up our eyes to be able to say, you know what, I need to grow and I need to learn how to grow. So that's what I feel about that question.
No, that's excellent. The third thing that selfish leaders do is they hoard information. Now, what does that mean? That means that sometimes when you're in a leadership position, you get information that's designed to be passed down. Now, if you think that information might not hit softly with the team, some leaders, what they'll do is they just won't even pass the information down at all. Some leaders don't pass the information down because they don't want the blowback. Well, here's the thing. Or let me take that one step further because I almost forgot. Some leaders won't pass the information because they like to hoard it. They like to be the person, oh, well, I have to ask Chris, about that because I haven't heard anything about that. Well, that's not the right way to do it. But like I said, we're not just going to give you the problems. We're going to give you a couple of solutions. And this solution is one of them is called practice radical transparency. Now, what does that mean? That means that when information comes down, you share it. If it doesn't feel good to share it, too bad. You're in a leadership position, you have to share it. You have to let your team know what's going on. And I can tell you a quick story, and I'm going to use his name because my boss now, he does exactly that. He practices radical transparency. He tells us everything that's going on. When he gets it, as soon as we get to that meeting on Monday or Tuesday, sometimes he'll say, listen, this is what's going on. He goes over the things that's coming from the top first. So we'll know. And then we can transfer that information. So I applaud him for that. Um, Another thing is default to share. So if you're wondering if you should share something, especially things that have been passed on to you from senior leadership, share it. They'll let you know the stuff that you're not supposed to share or the stuff that's proprietary to maybe contracts or something like that. But most information that's coming from the top is designed so that you can reiterate the information to your team. Here's the point. Indispensable is a trap. Replaceable is a legacy. Because people that hoard information, they think that'll make them indispensable. Well, maybe it will a little bit, but their boss should be watching that and making sure that no one person is indispensable or irreplaceable. So as far as hoarding information, have you seen that, Diana, or what do you think about it?
Yes, I've seen it. I've dealt with it personally. And one thing I appreciate about the military, being prior military, I really appreciate how the leaders would share information. They would share, and just going back to the comment you made about being indispensable. Um, we were required to create continuity books so that when someone would be replaced, then the process didn't change, or they didn't have to recreate it. So I love that the military taught us that. And I know I took that and brought it to the civilian sector, but there was times where in the civilian sector, people would hoard information. They didn't want to share that information or not include me in meetings. And when I would find out the outcome of the meeting, I realized, gosh, I needed to be in that meeting because it would help me in my current position. So hoarding information, it doesn't help. It doesn't help your team. It doesn't help individuals at all trying to learn the job or trying to maybe make it better. And not being in those meetings, you may lose out on some historical information, or you may lose out on maybe you needed just one little piece to be able to finalize a project. So I believe that including everyone in those meetings or sharing information that's needed, you never know who you're going to help. And I know when I was a leader, I would always include people or include the teammates into the meetings, so that if there was a decision I need to make, there was someone there that was tangible, that could relay the information quickly, and we would be able to move on and not maybe talk about a project for an extra 30 minutes when it could have just been handled within 10 minutes.
Right. No, and that's good. That's good. Inviting the team members sometimes to some of the high level meetings, that definitely helps. Now, if you're getting some value out of what we're talking about today, don't forget to like and subscribe. And we're going to be doing these videos once a week. So the next thing we want to talk about is they promote loyalty over excellence. That's what a selfish leader does. Now, what does that mean, promoting loyalty over excellence? The only way, or the easiest way I can say this, is when cliques are formed in shops or in different departments, meaning that that leader only talks to one or two of the people in that department. And it's not that person's direct reports. It's just random individuals that person, sometimes I call them yes man. They're just telling that leader yes all the time. Yes, yes, and it's like there's no pushback, or there's no it's just strictly loyalty to that leader. Now, I'm not saying that you're not supposed to have loyalty to your leaders. I'm saying that some leaders just take that and now they only promote, or they only talk to those people whether they're doing their job or not. It's because they like someone to be around them saying, you're great, and every decision you make is great. Well, I don't think that's the right thing to do, because excellence should be what you're looking for, not just someone who's telling you what you want to hear. But there's a solution, because what you want to do as a leader, you want to hire your challengers sometime, and not just your cheerleaders, because cheerleaders will just having someone say yes all the time, it won't go over well with the actual people who are doing excellent work, because normally those cheerleaders, they're not doing much work. So put one person on your team whose job is to push back on you, and listen when they do. So, and when I say push back, it's not getting into an argument with you. It's, hey, have you looked at it this way? Or have we ever tried this thing? There's nothing wrong with brainstorming with a few of your teammates. So think about that, and remember, hire challengers, not just cheerleaders. So, what do you think about uh, selfish leaders promoting loyalty over excellence?
Yes, unfortunately, that creates a toxic work environment, and I mean it does. You end up hiring maybe underqualified people because of the connections or the cheerleaders, and that leader is missing out on people who have the expertise or who have been overlooked, that has the expertise, the knowledge, seniority, um, the historical information about the organization. They're missing out on how they can make a program better. And when you have cheerleaders, you end up having the same mindset, and then nothing's changed. Then it's like you have that saying, well, this is how we do it here, versus how can I be challenged to create something better, more effective, more efficient? Maybe we did do it back in the day this way, but we're going to take this knowledge and this data and be able to uh, improve this process. So I believe that it's important um, to be around people that will challenge you. Like as you mentioned before, it's not to get anyone upset or angry um, or condemn that individual. Sometimes not inviting the challenging is pride. You won't be able to really receive the information you need to receive as a leader because of pride. So I would just say that I know I've witnessed it. I probably had I mean, just out of transparency, I may have sometimes be a little bit, maybe hard to receive some information when I'm being challenged. And so I know I have to take a seat back and say, okay, Diana, this is not about your intelligence. It has nothing to do with how you're leading. This is just another angle, another way to look at something, a different perspective on how to make this decision or how to make this or how to move forward with this project.
No, that's good. That's good. So the last one we want to talk about, and this is selfish leaders and what they do. They disappear when the stakes are personal. Now, what does that mean? Let's talk about that for a second. There's a lot of people who aspire to be in leadership positions. And what they aspire to be is just in charge because of their technical knowledge sometimes, which is fine. But here's the thing, once you get promoted to a certain level, your technical knowledge sometimes is secondary to the personal challenges that you have to deal with as a leader. And let me explain. You have to show up for the moments when you have to go to the hospital when someone gets sick. When I say have to, you should, because no one's going to make you. But someone on your team gets sick and they're in the hospital, yes, you might want to go see them. The difficult feedback. If we were on a live right now and I said, everybody raise their hand who's a supervisor or manager and they like giving constructive feedback, most people wouldn't raise their hand. I have no problem with it because that's my job. When you get to a certain level, you have to expect to give constructive feedback. You have to expect to be that unpopular advocate for things when something may come down from headquarters or something may come down from leadership or senior leadership, and you have to promote that. And sometimes it may not be something that you agree with. But just because you don't agree with it, you don't go down and tell your team, hey, you know what? These orders came down. I don't like it. I hate it. I hate the person who wrote it. No, you can't do that because your team is going to follow you if you're the leader. So what you want to do is you just want to say, hey, we got these down. We have to get them done. Let's just get it done as fast as we can so that we can move to the next challenge. That's a better way. So sometimes you have to be that unpopular advocate for senior leadership's orders. And that's some of the personal stuff that young aspiring leaders don't really take into account because what they're thinking about is that next pay bump. Everybody wants the pay bump, but nobody wants to deal with the personalities. And that's what you're doing once you get to a certain level. So when a selfish leader disappears when the stakes are personal, here's what you do. Show up when it costs you something. You still have to show up. You still have to do your job and you still have to move forward. So that's what I think about that. I mean, I could go on for a long time about that because I talk about it all the time because a lot of people want to get promoted just for the paycheck. So what do you think about a selfish leader and they disappear when the stakes are personal?
Yes. I mean, again, I've experienced this. Um, and I know I aspire to be a leader, and there's different things I didn't always going to have to do immediately, or I didn't realize, even as an informal leader, I didn't realize that there was going to be things that I had to do to step up to something where another leader didn't do what they needed to do. Um, those crucial conversations, some leaders will glaze over those crucial conversations, or they don't want to address a specific behavior, or they just don't want to because they want to keep the peace. But unfortunately, what that does, it causes a toxic work environment. And if it's not addressed, it will continue, and it's not safe for the other teammates or other colleagues. So it's important to address crucial conversations. It's important to um, uh, have these be unpopular as much as they want to be liked. You can't. You can't because you're there to do a job, and not only that, but you're creating a safe place for others to work. And in the end, you will be a respected leader, and your team will trust you. They'll trust you because you're operating in fairness, you're operating with integrity, you're not letting things go just because you don't want to deal with it. When you show up, your team sees that and they trust you, and it adds respect. So I would say as a leader, I I know I learned through the years that it's better to be respected than liked. And because unfortunately, when you're light, that's where clicks start. That's where it just becomes toxic. So as a leader, you show up, you do the right thing even if you don't want to. That's what a leader does.
That's excellent. Listen, we've talked about 5 things. We've talked about what selfish leaders do. We said that they take credit, they pass the blame, and we said also, we when it wins, I when it loses. They develop themselves, not their people. You guys know I hate that. Uh, grow them like you grow you. They hoard information. Remember, indispensable is a trap. Replaceable is a legacy. They promote loyalty over excellence, and they disappear when the stakes are personal. So show up when it costs you something. So now, if you've enjoyed this episode, do 3 things for me. Number 1, subscribe to this channel. Number 2, share this episode with a leader who needs it. Now, don't call them out saying, hey, this is you. You do this every day. You do these 5 things every day. Don't do that. Don't do it to call them out. Give it to them to lift them up. And number 3, if you're ready to do the deeper work, if you're tired of climbing alone and you want help, click the link in the description or copy and paste the link in the browser and fill out the form. I will contact you personally to discuss a 5-day leadership challenge that will help you grow into the leader that I know you can be. Hey, my name is Christopher Houston. This is my beautiful wife, Diana Houston. Thank you very much. Good night and God bless. Peace.